After studying the major and minor third last week and exploring the perfect fifth found within the power chord, it seemed the perfect opportunity to start looking at some guitar arpeggio shapes. As a primer for this lesson, you will need to know how to play thirds, so I definitely recommend watching that lesson first. Arpeggio comes from the Italian word arpeggiare, which means to play the harp. In modern music, it refers to a broken chord. The notes of a chosen chord are played in an upwards or downwards sequence of individual notes. So if an arpeggio is a broken chord, being able to see and play them on the fretboard is a great introduction to the idea of chord tone soloing. Instinctively being able to play the notes of a chord will allow your solos to sound more coherent and musical. So let's start with the major arpeggio, which will be the same notes as the major chord. The major chord or major triad is formed from a root, the starting note which names the chord. For example, C. To that we add the major third and the perfect fifth above the root, the notes of E and G, the third and fifth notes of the C major scale. You can add doublings of these three notes in higher or lower octaves to create fuller chord shapes. Playing all the notes at once is strumming a chord, whereas picking the notes individually is playing an arpeggio. The best way to think about the major arpeggio is stacked thirds. Third intervals stacked upon one another. There is a major third between the root and the third, but E to G is the distance of a minor third. In the context of a C chord, that minor third sounds quite happy, but over an E bass note, you'd clearly get that minor sound. You can say then that the major arpeggio is a major third plus a minor third, and you can see that more clearly on an individual string. Root to the third is a major third or 4 frets. Then there is a minor third or 3 frets between the third and the fifth. You can continue up to the octave, which will be 5 frets, a perfect fourth between the fifth and the octave root. The perfect fourth across a string pair is in the same fret, except across strings 3 and 2, in which it is a fret higher. The horizontal arpeggio on one string will always look the same whatever string you are on. You will find though that you're not always starting on the root. But if we consider the arpeggio vertically across 2 or more strings, things become a little more complicated, as can be seen in the 3 different shapes for the major triad across each 3-string grouping. It's the same notes, but they appear differently. That said, with a solid understanding of the third shapes across a string pair, creating arpeggio shapes is a cinch if you follow the major third, minor third sequence. Try it. Fret any note at random and find the third and the fifth above. Even better, try doing it over a chord backing to hear how each note fits over the chord. Looking now to the minor arpeggio, the minor triad is formed from a root, minor third, and perfect fifth. Thinking about about it, the minor arpeggio is the opposite of the major arpeggio, a minor third plus a major third. Those thirds can clearly be seen in the different triad forms across the string sets. Again, try some minor arpeggio shapes from any notes on any string set. Minor third plus major third. For a more thorough practice room workout, you could try the following exercise. Choose yourself a root note and explore the different avenues of arpeggios when starting on a different fretting hand finger. Each finger orientates the fretting hand differently, and in turn, you will play the arpeggios in different ways. It also doesn't hurt your fretting hand dexterity to do the same thing from finger 4 in preparation for more advanced arpeggio forms. You should try and do this with both the major and minor arpeggio forms on different string sets. With 5 minutes a day spent on arpeggio vision, the fun begins when putting your new knowledge to a chord progression. You can ease into this by firstly locating the root notes of each chord. Then start trying to find the other chord tones using your arpeggio forms. A solid working knowledge of notes found within each chord can help you to know when it's good to stay on a particular note and when you should move. For more on the inner workings of the fretboard, you should definitely check out my Caged Clarity ebook or even Guitar Rutbuster's Essential Theory, my comprehensive video course, available from my online store with the link in the description. Whilst you're there, be sure to pick up your free copy of Fretboard Mastery, my guide to learning the notes of the fretboard in just a few days. Tabs, fretboard diagrams, and the backing track for this lesson will be available to all members of my Patreon group. You can help support the channel and get exclusive bonuses each month for less than a cup of coffee. Find out more with the link in the cards or video description. Practice well, and I'll see you again soon.